Well, welcome back to another Dynodaze video, and as you can see, a black Honda Civic Ep3 TypeR. And today this is in for an ECU exchange and custom live tuning on the dyno. It's got no cats, so it's going to have a bit of flamage. But yeah, here we go. Take it away, Richard.
Take it away. Why is it down to me?
Take it away. I don't know. Black EP3. as you know, we tune EP3s. This one's got a couple of modifications. It's got a Dynodaze intake. Enough said about that, the better. It's got a 4:1 Decat. It's got a 2¼ inch Japspeed centre section and a Scorpion rear box. And to be fair, it made 220 brake horsepower on its initial run.
It did, yeah.
But the fueling was considerably out.
Yeah, of course. Well, obviously, again, we've touched on this quite a bit, haven't we? You've made modifications, obviously, therefore increasing power, which obviously then leans the fueling out because the map's not designed for it. So it did make reasonable power in, you know, not dangerous in any way, in my opinion, but obviously it makes more power and made good power, which is at least proves that the engine's healthy and you're going to have a good start to your map, don't you?
Sure. And then obviously you've tuned it and we finished on 227 brake horsepower. Now, the note on this car is that at 6,000 RPM, we're actually 44 brake horsepower up. Well, that's a considerable amount of poke in the mid-range.
Yeah, I mean, a considerable amount of good gains in the mid-range. You can see that it starts to make power. You can sort of tell by the graph that it starts to, it fills the exhaust. And then obviously around 5,000, it sort of flattens out, although you're making reasonable power all the way up. And then from around 7.5 onwards, it sort of stays flat. I try and, when we're in this situation where we're dealing with a small exhaust, I try and hold the power as best I can till the end. So hopefully we don't lose anything, but we're not gaining anything anymore. And that basically, if you look at the initial graph, it's sort of peak power, peak revs. And then you look at the graph we've got now, it sort of gets 7.5 and it obviously, I wouldn't say it goes flat, but the power continues at the same level. That's exhaust restriction. It's just the exhaust is full. We cannot get any more out of it, so therefore we're not making any more power, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of where we are. We've obviously tuned to the modifications that we've got. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if this vehicle wanted more power, a better exhaust is 100% the way to go.
Yeah. I think that's all we've got to say about it.
I think that's all we've got to say. I don't think there is anything else to say on that one. I think it's...
Jolly nice chat.
Yeah, I think we made exactly the power I expected. We were sort of aiming for 225, we made 227. So I think, yeah, I think I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Now, obviously, if you wanted more power, like you say, exhaust modifications and possibly an induction kit. But we've got, this is on a stock manifold.
It's on a stock manifold. So 230 really is probably going to be all you're going to get peak. But the difference is that, again, you will make peak power at peak revs. What you won't do is you won't have that flat top section, as I put it. So the exhaust would free up that power and go for that.
What exhaust would you recommend that's available on our website?
Well, the Tegiwa 70mm for me is still the best value for money. But it depends on where you're going with the car. For example, if you thought, right, I'm going to supercharge this car at some point,
then you want a 3-inch
then you want a 3-inch exhaust, don't you? So it's all about planning. For me, rather than buying 3 sets of mods or 3 sets of exhausts, for example, then you'd want to decide where you're going with it, and then know
so
what
if you stay in NA, then the Tegiwa 70mm is great value for money, because if you the next size up is a considerable amount more money, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But for example, if you're not going to put an inlet manifold on it, well, then you don't need a 3-inch exhaust. A 70mm would be great. You could almost get away with 2.5 maybe at that point if you're sticking with a standard inlet manifold. But if you're thinking, I'm going to put an inlet manifold on, I'm going to go a set of cams, well, then you want that Tegiwa 70mm or a 3-inch exhaust.
For this, for this car, stay in NA, inlet manifold of choice, Skunk2 Ultra Series.
Yeah, I'd go for Ultra Series. If
that's available on our website.
The Pro Series is also good on these. So again,
you
don't have to trim the front panel for the Pro Series. So it's a nicer one for people to fit at home.
There you go. If you're fitting it yourself at home, Pro Series. Dynodaze induction kit, perhaps, again, available on the website. But yeah, so some more. There's always potential with EP3s, I find.
Oh yeah, there's always more power,
potential.
Always more power to be had, for sure.
Yeah, great cars, love them. I had a black one, you know. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, bit rough though.
It was a bit rough, but I bought it rough, did it? It had been through a hedge.
Yeah.
Like an actual.
It had an accident, hadn't it?
It had it was a category H for going through a hedge.
Yeah.
Right, cool, let's have a look at this graph. Well, as we always say, red line is as she came in, blue line is as she leaves. And as you can see, that's that dollop in the mid-range that I was talking about. An extra 44 brake horsepower at 6,000 RPM, which is not to be sniffed at. Yeah, and we finish on, I'm calling that 227 brake horsepower, 195 at the wheels. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, guys. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. If you require parts for an EP3, give us a shout. They're all on the website, but you can speak to us as well. We do fitting here. So if you want your inlet manifold fitting, or you need a clutch, or anything like that, if you want us to fit a set of coilovers, we've got all the parts, and we've got a very busy workshop here, happy to help. So give us a shout, and we'll see you on the next one, won't we, Rich?
Will do.
Hey, do you know what? We haven't done a code word for a while. Code word. You've not done a code word for a while.
Because Jensen's off on the sick, we'll have sick note.
Sick note. Sick note is the code word for today. Thanks, guys.
Before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.